A rectangle has sides of 10 and 12 units. How can the area of a square be computed if it has the same perimeter as the rectangle? This is in math. Letter A, add 10 and 12, double the sum, divide by 4, then multiply by 4. Letter B, add 10 and 12, double the sum, divide by 4, then multiply by 2. Letter C, add 10 and 12, double the sum, divide by 4, then square the quotient. Letter D, add 10 and 12, double the sum, then multiply by 4. Now, we know how to solve your add 10 and 12 kasi. So if you have 10 and 12, which are the lengths and the widths, 10 and 12 units of your rectangle, for you to get the perimeter of that rectangle, you need to use this formula, di po ba? So 2 multiply the quantity, length, plus width. Kaya sabi ng first part ng letter C mo, add 10 plus 12, then multiply by 2. Okay, so that means the perimeter should be 44. Now, sabi doon sa ating question, yung square also has the same perimeter as your rectangle. So that means yung perimeter ng ating square is also 44. Now, we know that the formula for the perimeter of a square is 4 times the side, okay? Because the square has 4 equal sides, okay? So since we are given your perimeter, we need to get the measurement of one side. So what we do is we divide the perimeter, which is 44, by 4. Kaya yung second to the last part ng yung letter C is divided by 4. Okay? Now, once you have that, so that means this is the measurement of one side. Now, we know that area of the square would just be S squared. Okay? So side multiplied by side. So what we have would be 11 times 11, or the last part there would be to square the quotient, okay? To square the quotient of your perimeter. So that's why the correct answer there was letter C, add 10 and 12, double the sum, divide by 4, then square the quotient. Question number 5, which of the following causes the seasons? Is it letter A, the rotation of the sun around the earth? Letter B, the distance of the earth from the sun? Letter C, the rotation of the earth around the sun? Or letter D, the tilting of the earth on its axis? We know that the earth actually has 2 movements, and we call these movements rotation and revolution. Magkaiba po ito. When you say rotation, this is the spinning of the earth on its own axis. Ito po. Okay, so spinning of the earth lang on its own axis. The axis is this imaginary line that cuts through the earth from the North Pole to the South Pole. So nagspispin lang dyan ang iyong earth. If you can imagine yung earth mo to be an orange, tapos meron kang stick, for example, na tinuhog mo siya sa isang stick, tapos pinaikot-ikot mo siya on that stick, that is your rotation. Okay, so it's just the spinning of the earth on its own axis. Now, what is very prominent about this, what is very important for you to remember is that the axis of the earth is not straight. Okay, hindi po siya straight. It is tilted by 23.5 degrees. Okay, so nakaslant po siya, nakadiagonal po siya. Now, rotation only takes 24 hours to be completed. So one complete rotation takes only 24 hours. Ang effect po nito would be day and night. Kaya tayo merong araw, kaya tayo merong gabi, because po of rotation. Now, the other movement of the earth is its movement around the sun. Okay, so one complete revolution, one complete movement on its orbit, okay, following its orbit around the sun, you call that revolution. And this would take 365 and 1/4 days. Now, this is very important, especially yung 1/4 dito, napaka-importante po niyan, dahil ito po yung nagbibigay sa atin ng leap year, di ba? Sinasabi natin leap year pag merong isang sobrang araw sa isang taon. So pag hindi leap year, for example, right now it's 2020, 2020 is a leap year. Okay? Pag hindi leap year, ang February mo ay hanggang February 28 lamang. Pag leap year naman, ang yung February na month ay hanggang February 29. So there is a sobra of 1 day. Bakit? Because of this 1/4 day here. It takes 365 and 1/4 days to complete one revolution. So pagkalipas ng 4 na taon, of course, when you have 4 na 1/4, that would give us 1. Kaya nagiging 366 ang araw sa isang leap year. Now, paano nyo malalaman kung isang taon ay leap year? Lahat po ng taon na divisible by 4 is a leap year. So, year 2020 is a leap year. Year 2024 is going to be a leap year. 2028 is going to be a leap year. 2032 is going to be a leap year. Okay? So, all those years that are divisible by 4 are leap year. Now, the effect of revolution would be the seasons. And this is partly because of the tilting of the axis of the Earth. At dahil dito ay meron tayong perihelion, aphelion na tinatawag. I think I've already discussed this in one of the previous live streams that we have. Pag sinabi mong perihelion, the Earth is very near the Sun. It is the location of the Earth where you can find it nearest the Sun. Pag sinabi mo namang aphelion, the Earth is very far from the Sun. Okay, so it's because of the tilting of the axis, and of course, it's because of revolution. So that's why we have seasons. And another effect of this would be the different time zones that we have. Kaya umaga dito ngayon, ng alas 7:20 ng umaga, dyan naman gabi. Mas advanced po kayo, mas nauuna po kayo ng 12 hours. So dyan naman 7:21 on a Saturday evening. Dito naman 7:21 in the morning of Saturday. Okay? So going back to our question here, which of the following causes the seasons? The rotation of the sun around the earth. This is already wrong because we don't call this rotation, we call this revolution. The distance of the earth from the sun, not really. This is not specified. We don't know whether it's near or whether it's far. The rotation of the earth around the sun. Okay, wrong din to dahil nga rotation of the earth around the sun. Ang tawag po dyan would be revolution. Ang rotation po would just be the spinning of the earth on its own axis. And letter D naman, the tilting of the earth on its axis. So the correct answer would be letter D, the tilting of the earth on its axis. And of course, because of the revolution of the earth around the sun. Number 10, an atom or a group of atoms which has an excess deficiency of electrons is called what? We go to the next slide so that I can explain this to you. Now, we know that we have 3 types of subatomic particles. Pag sinabi po natin subatomic particles, these are the smaller parts of an atom. Kasi pag sinabi mong atom, it is the basic unit of matter. Matter is everything around us. Okay, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. Basta ang isang bagay ay nakakapag-occupy ng space, ibig sabihin meron siyang volume at meron siyang mass. That means matter siya. Okay, so minsan kahit hindi natin nakikita, pwede pa rin matter siya. For example, air. Air is still matter even if we cannot see it because air has mass and it can occupy space. Kaya pag merong balloon, for example, pag nilagyan mo siya ng hangin, ay lumalaki siya because hangin, air is a type of matter kahit hindi natin siya nakikita. Now, ang sinasabi nating subatomic particles, these are the parts, the smaller parts that are found inside an atom. Ang atom nga is the basic unit of matter. Now, there are 3 types of subatomic particles, the protons, electrons, and neutrons. Now, my table here is showing you the differences between those 3. So, pag sinabi mong location, saan mo ba sila makikita? Yung proton and neutron mo, pareho mong makikita sa nucleus. Yung nucleus po, ang pinakagitna ng iyong atom, dyan mo nakukuha yung mass ng iyong atom. Okay, so that's the nucleus. Okay, so your proton and electrons are both found in the nucleus of the atom. It is only the electron that is found outside sa tinatawag nating electron clouds. Okay, so yung electron mo yung medyo kitikite, yung electron mo po yung hindi mapalagay, paragi po siyang gumagalaw. Now, according to their mass, your proton and your neutron have 1 AMU. 1 AMU. AMU here stands for atomic mass unit. Okay, that's the measurement of the mass of an atom. Ang electron mo naman, it is negligible. Meaning, pwede mo nang i-neglect dahil napaka-light niya. Wala siya halos mass. Now, according to the charges, according to their charge, your proton is positively charged. So, positive yung charge ng protons mo. Electrons are negatively charged. Ang neutrons mo naman, based sa kanyang pangalan, it is neutral. So, wala siyang charge. That's why I wrote 0 there. Now, the atom, if your atom is neutral, pag neutral yung atom mo, wala siyang charge, that means equal ang number ng protons niya at yung number of electrons niya. For example, in this case here, pag tinignan natin yung protons, yung pula, no? 1, 2, 3. Meron tayong tatlong protons. At titingnan din natin yung electrons. Ilang electrons ba meron siya? 1, 2, 3. Meron din siyang tatlong electrons. So that will be plus 3, positive 3 for the 3 protons. And meron ka ding negative 3 for the 3 electrons. That means your atom is neutral. Neutral siya, wala siyang charge. Now, what happens kung sumobra yung electron niya? For example, okay, sobra siyang isang electron. If that happens, the charge of your atom would be negative 1. Okay, sobra siyang isang electron negative dahil yung charge nga ng electron mo would be negative. So, may sobra siyang isang negative. So, that's why the charge would be negative 1. Pag kulang naman siya ng electron, for example, nawala to, nawala din to. So, that means yung protons mo tatlo, so that's plus 3. Yung electrons mo ngayon, dalawa na lang. Dahil dinilit nga natin yan, in-erase natin yan, pati din ito. So, dalawa na lang yung electrons mo. That means, meron siyang sobrang isang positive charge. So, when that happens, the charge of your atom would be positive 1, plus 1 siya. And we call these atoms, those with excess or deficiency of electrons, as ions. So, your correct answer here would be letter D, ion. Okay, ion po yung tamang sagot. Ion ang mga atoms na hindi wasto, ang count ng hindi equal yung number of electrons and protons nila. Usually yung nagsasubtract lamang po at nag-add would be the electrons. Dahil nga sabi ko sa inyo, yung electrons yung magalaw, yung electrons yung involved sa bonding. Sa pag-perform ng different compounds, pag-perform ng bonding, it is the electrons that are involved and not the protons. Yung protons po, yung neutrons mo would just be intact in the nucleus. Okay, so ion would be the correct answer. Again, ions are atoms with excess or deficiency of electrons. So hindi lamang po si ion ni Vice Ganda ang kilala nyo ngayon. Okay, may ion din po sa lead.